guys, welcome to our new channel. It's me, Arlyn and Mike.
And we're going to go ahead and start our next video, which will be about
The house.
the house. Yes, we're going to do a series on buying and building property in the Philippines. So, for those of you that don't know offhand, Arlyn is from what in the Philippines they call the province, or what we would call the countryside. And that means basically she's out there. So
I'm from Mindanao in Kitcharao.
So Kitcharao and Mindanao. So that's what? How long a flight is that from Manila?
1 hour and 35 minutes.
One hour. It takes us an hour and 35 minutes to get to Butuan.
Airport. And then from the airport, you have to take a bus for 2 hours to get to Kitcharao.
So.
But the good thing is there's a taxi in Butuan now, so you can either get a taxi or get a bus.
Right, and so, yeah. So anyways, I'm not going to go into the particulars of all of the steps that we took with respect to the paperwork. I'm going to just say this. We're not lawyers, and
We don't know much about that.
yeah. All right, but what we do know is what we had to go through.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't get a lawyer in Kitcharao.
No.
So our suggestion is that you hire a highly competent, experienced lawyer. But if you don't have that option, or if you want to double check some of the things that the attorney does, well, hey, we'll give you some of the basics, and then if you have detailed questions, send us an email. We'll be happy to answer them. But getting back to the process of the home, in Kitcharao, there's not a tremendous amount of titled land.
No, it's it's a province, so it's kind of normal to. I mean, a lot of people doesn't have their land as to have a title,
Right.
because the process it take a while, and yet they have to spend money to pay for titles. So.
Yeah, and that will bring up another subject down the road, but it's a lot of the land is generational land,
You're right.
and no title actually exists. Well, we weren't going to build property on land that we technically did not own. Arlyn's messing with that microphone, and she's going to knock it over again.
Because I want to put it here. Maybe.
Well, then you can put it there. You want to put it there?
Probably.
Okay, we'll see if people can hear me when the video's over, but sure. Yeah, I need to get a dual channel microphone, I think.
Okay.
All
Just
right.
get close to me.
Oh, I'm close to you, baby. I'm close. So anyways, you know, the property of generational land is a whole nother topic. But what was it that you wanted? You know, I mean, you know, personally, I could, I had no deep burning desire to build a home in the province. Okay? But
Thank you for buying this land.
but Arlyn
House.
did. And you're welcome. So what was it we were looking for?
Well, we're looking for a smaller land that we had in the smaller than what we had in Arizona, and you know we don't need a bigger land and a bigger house. So, and this land and the house is really good. So
Right.
good size.
So by
And I'm sorry.
go ahead.
It's close to my family. So
Arlyn wanted to be close to her family. She's a 3-minute walk
yeah,
to her dad's place and her sister and brother-in-law and her brother.
and that's the good thing.
And it is, because they were very helpful in the entire process. I
Yep.
mean, Arlyn's family saved us a ton of time and effort and running around and everything else, because we couldn't be there for all of it.
Yeah.
Simply because in the beginning, and you'll see pictures, the property wasn't livable. So it had a piece of property. It had a house that had, actually somebody did live in it at one time. Then
Yeah.
it was used mostly for storage because the owner's daughter
Went
That-
to the school.
went to college and then decided she didn't want to come back to the small town, and she lives in Butuan, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, in the big city. Either way, so again, we suggest you hire a lawyer. Even better if you can get a qualified, licensed, bonded real estate agent. Very hard to come by in the province. All right. But if you can get all of that, then you don't have to go through any of the paperwork rigors that we went through. But what we did do was we had to go through and first find a lot,
Yes.
and then we had to find out, does this person really have title to this lot? And then we had to find out, do they have the authority to sell that land, which is their name on that lot?
Right.
Because, you can go through, trust me, the number of people who had a friend whose auntie was selling land contacting us on Facebook was considerable. And you never know. The process that people will come up with selling land
Yeah.
could work, could be
Could
a
not.
disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Philippines.
Welcome to the Philippines. Yeah, for Arlyn, that's her saying for everything that frustrates me. Welcome to the Philippines.
Well, it is.
So, so with that being said, we had to get all of that down before we could even start the process. That process was actually not bad
No.
at all, but there was a lot of, because we ended up having to do so much of it ourselves, the process was a little slower, and it was a little confusing at times,
Because we don't know what
because
to do.
we didn't know. We didn't know that this had to be done, and this had to be done, and this had to be done in this particular order. And we did it. It's not impossible to do, but it takes a little bit of extra time. And when did we shake hands with the guy and say, "Yeah, let's buy it"? Remember?
October
October. And
Yeah.
then
last year.
of last year. And then when did we actually close on the title?
November. It was November.
Was it? No.
No. Actually, we started processing September, and then it closed, like transferred the title, like late October.
I thought we didn't start building until in 2022.
Yes.
January,
February.
February.
What I mean, the process of the documents, we started late September, and then we closed the house in October last week.
I think it was November. But either way, the whole process, partially my fault because I refused to build anything until we had a title in our hand.
And that's understandable.
Took from September to January?
Late January.
Late January, almost February. So September, October, November, December, January. 5 months to get all of that done.
Yeah.
And it wasn't painless, but it wasn't difficult.
No.
It was just a lot of legwork and running around. Mm-hmm. So we're going to give you a glimpse of our home in Phoenix, and then we'll give you a look at
the house, what it looked like when we bought it.
And I'm going to preface this personally, because I did not really have a burning desire to move to the province. And we still don't move to the province. We live in Angeles. But I didn't have a desire to build a home in the province individually.
But hey, when you go there, you'll have a nicer place to stay in.
Oh, yeah.
And me.
Yeah, and you. What I mean by that is if I had not had Arlyn, I would not build a home in the province.
Well, of course.
Okay? Because of that, I would never have gone through this process. I would never have you know what? Let me rephrase this. Let me say it more like this. If I had to do it again with Arlyn, if Arlyn and I were buying that land today, rather than modify, rebuild the second, rather than leave the first floor intact and do the second floor, rather than a major remodel, I would have ripped that house to the ground and started over. Not because it was built, the foundation and the basics are fine. Okay? It just wasn't designed to Western flow. The layout was a little different. I would have done it differently. But
it works.
It works. We're only there a couple weeks at a time. We're only there half a dozen times a year. Mm-hmm. And building anything more extensive would have been a waste of money.
Yeah. I mean, you spent a lot of money in there already.
Yeah, by Filipino standards. But either way. So, look, carry on through. Take a look at what we had. Or take a look at our Phoenix home, okay? And then you'll see at the end our Filipino province home. And at that point, we'll start to go into the process of what did it take to actually do this? Because it was an absolute, at times it was just kind of a madhouse, and at times it was just frustrating, and at times it was fine. And we'll give you an idea as to some of the things that that you might want to look out for, like your foreman deciding to change something without telling you.
Right.
Okay?
Some of it, but most of it he asked.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. Okay? So, without any further ado, here's our Phoenix home.